Spoilers ahead. Watch out, and take care. The movie begins with a black screen and static noise. Suddenly, Jin-sok wakes up in a car, surprised. He is on his way to a new house with his dad, mom, and older brother, Yusok. Jin-sok admires Yusok a lot. Yusok is reliable, well-liked, bright, athletic, and popular among his friends and family. Even though he has a limp from a car accident a few years ago, he stays active and spirited. In 1997, when they arrive at their new home, the family starts moving their furniture. Jin-sok learns he will share a room with Yusok temporarily, because the previous owner is still using one of the rooms for storage. While organizing their room, their mom calls Yusok downstairs, leaving Jin-sok alone with a mover. The mover asks about Yusok's age, and Jin-sok laughs, saying people often comment they don't look alike. Yusok returns and tells the mover to help their mom in the kitchen. The brothers continue setting up their new room. After several hours, the family finishes moving into their new home. The rainy night, they celebrate with a feast. During dinner, their dad reminds them not to open the locked room, as the previous owner requested. They will share a room until the locked room is emptied in about a month, which Jin-sok is fine with. As they enjoy their meal, Jin-sok hears a loud noise from the locked room upstairs. The others dismiss it as thunder. Before they finish the feast, their dad reminds Jin-sok to take his daily antidepressant medicine. On their first night in the new house, Yusok goes to bed first, while Jin-sok listens to music with his earphones. Suddenly, he hears another loud noise from the locked room. He goes to investigate, but just as he is about to open the door, Yusok appears, and asks what he's doing. They listen outside the room, but hear nothing. Jin-sok insists he heard something, so Yusok takes him outside to get some fresh air. Standing together in the rain, they chat to clear their minds. Jin-sok thanks Yusok for always being there for him, who receives a call from their father, and heads back inside, leaving Jin-sok alone to enjoy the rain with his music player. After a while, he decides to head back in too, but he unexpectedly witnesses his older brother being kidnapped by a group of men, who throw him into a van and drive off. He rushes back home to notify his parents, and collapses afterward. While unconscious, he dreams about something that feels incredibly real. Finally regaining consciousness, his parents are relieved to see him awake, but the joy is overshadowed by the fact Yusok is missing. They inform Jin-sok that detectives will soon arrive to question him about the night of the kidnapping. When they arrive, he recounts the events in detail, and provides the license plate number of the black van used by the kidnappers. However, the detectives claim that no such van exists, frustrating him and ending the interrogation. The family begins a tense waiting game, hoping for contact from the kidnappers demanding ransom. As 2 weeks pass without any significant developments, Jin-sok starts experiencing recurring dreams, scenes that feel familiar and disturbingly real. Additionally, he has nightmares about the locked room in their house. On the morning of the 19th day since the disappearance, Yusok suddenly returns home on his own, with no memory of what happened. The doctor believes that the trauma of the experience has repressed his memories. Jin-sok begins to notice small changes in Yusok's behavior. He often goes out at night, returning by morning, which Jin-sok initially dismisses. One day, as Jin-sok is about to take his daily antidepressant medicine, it falls under the kitchen counter. Yusok interrupts, inviting him to eat together, causing him to skip his medication today. When he asks where Yusok goes at night, Yusok dismisses it as something from his dreams. After their meal, as Yusok heads out for his daily activities, Jin-sok notices something odd. Yusok is limping on his right leg, not his left. Yusok laughs it off and leaves. At night, after studying for his entrance exam, Jin-sok falls asleep at his desk. He is woken by the sound of Yusok playing with a mechanical pen near his face. Yusok then heads out, prompting Jin-sok to follow him discreetly. Yusok gets into a taxi, and Jin-sok quickly hails another to follow. They end up in a nearby market area, where Jin-sok sees Yusok meeting with two thugs, who turn out to be the same detectives who questioned him weeks ago. Realizing something is amiss, he follows, but is soon confronted by the two thugs. A chase ensues, forcing him to run for his life. Just when he thinks he has escaped, Yusok appears and sedates him. The next day, he wakes up at his desk where he had been studying, before following Yusok. Still in shock, he runs away from Yusok, and locks himself in the bathroom. Yusok tries to convince him what he experienced was not real, attributing it to missing his medication yesterday. Yusok insists that the chase, the taxi, and the thugs were all hallucinations. Jin-sok calms down and apologizes to Yusok. Returning to his desk, he finds the pencil lead that Yusok dropped the previous night, and realizes he never mentioned the taxi to Yusak. This solidifies his suspicion that the person who returned is not his real brother. He confides in his mother, and they plan to follow Yusak together the next time he heads out. At night, Jin-sok has another nightmare about the locked room. When he wakes up, he goes to the kitchen for a glass of water, and accidentally overhears his mother talking on the phone, telling someone that Jin-sok is starting to get suspicious. As he moves closer, the creak of the floor alerts her. He quickly hides outside, as his mother searches for the source of the noise. She is convinced it was him, and goes upstairs to check on his room. He climbs the outer wall in the rain, and manages to slip into his bed, just before his mother enters, but he's soaking wet with the window open, making it clear he came from outside. His mother calls his father, telling him their cover is blown. Jin-sok decides he's had enough, and jumps out of the window. At the gate, his father tries to convince him they are his real family, but he is certain they are imposters. He runs away to the nearest police station, chased by one of the thugs. At the police station, he explains the situation, but his story leaves the officers puzzled. When he tells them he is 20 years old, they become more confused, and direct him to a mirror. He looks and sees an older man staring back at him. Realizing he is not as young as he thought, he understands that the year is 2017, not 1997. Confused and angry, he returns to the house, and goes straight to the locked room. Inside, he finds two mannequins lying on the floor with fake blood. His family appears, and he demands an explanation. The young man posing as Yusak reveals that a murder occurred in the house 20 years ago, on December 20, 1997. A mother and her teenage daughter were killed. Despite their best efforts, the police were unable to solve the case. Years later, the victim's family hired a private investigator to find the killer. Through meticulous investigation, the detective identified Jin-sok as the murderer. To extract a confession, the team kidnapped and tortured him, but Jin-sok insisted he had no memory of committing any crime. Determined to uncover the truth, the young investigator decided to use hypnosis to help him remember. The team devised a plan to take him back to his last happy memory, hoping to reconstruct the events leading to the fateful night. Everything seemed to be progressing smoothly, until the young investigator was arrested for fraud, interrupting the operation. After 19 days in custody, he was released, which explained Jin-sok's perceived abduction. The mysterious sounds Jin-sok heard from the locked room were actually his team recreating the murder scene, and the special medicine he took daily was meant to keep him under hypnosis. Although Jin-sok starts to believe the story, he continues to assert his innocence. In a moment of panic, he escapes by throwing himself out of the van. As the team chases him, they crash the van into a tree. Jin-sok attempts to flee, but is hit by a truck. Lying injured on the ground, he begins to recall the past. In a flashback, he remembers being in a car with his real family. Suddenly, they were involved in a tragic accident, killing both his parents, and leaving his older brother in critical condition. 6 months later, Jin-sok learnt from Professor Choi that his brother urgently needed surgery. With the country's economy in shambles, and only a high school diploma to his name, Jin-sok was desperate. He posted a plea for work on an internet forum, and an anonymous user responded with a job offer. The task was grim: he must kill a woman for money. Desperation drove him to accept. He received an address, and detailed instructions on how to enter the house, with strict orders to kill the woman, but leave her 2 children unharmed. Inside the house, Jin-sok was overcome with doubt, and prepared to leave. However, the woman appeared, and seeing Jin-sok with a knife, screamed. He told her to stay quiet, and she complied, but her daughter came downstairs, saw the scene, and panicked. As she ran back upstairs, Jin-sok chased her, accidentally stabbing her in the chaos. The mother's horrified scream caused him to panic further, leading him to stab her as well. Just before leaving, he encountered a little boy. He instructed the boy to go to bed, count to 110, and wait for his mother. As Jin-sok exited, he noticed a family portrait, and realized the house belonged to his brother's Professor Choi. When he met the anonymous user, his suspicion was confirmed: Professor Choi. Professor Choi explained he needed his wife's life insurance money to keep their children off the streets amid the economic crisis. Enraged upon learning that Jin-sok killed his daughter as well, Professor Choi attempted to throw him off a rooftop. In the ensuing struggle, Professor Choi slipped and fell to his death. Back to the present, Jin-sok awakens in a hospital. Choi Sung-uk, the young man posing as his older brother, waits by his side, ready to inject poison into his IV. At the last moment, Jin-sok confesses to the murders, recounting every detail. Choi Sung-uk then reveals his true identity: he is the little boy from that night. He explains that growing up in an orphanage, and losing everything to greedy relatives, left him scarred. He demands to know who ordered to kill his mother, suspecting his own father, due to the multiple insurance policies taken out before her death. A distraught Jin-sok lies, claiming full responsibility, but he sees through the deception. Realizing the enormity of his actions, Jin-sok poisons himself, and dies. Simultaneously, Choi Sung-uk, overwhelmed by the truth about his family, kills himself by jumping out of the hospital window. Flashback to 1997, Jin-sok stands by a river. A little boy approaches, and offers him a lollipop. He declines, and the boy runs to his family, Professor Choi and his loved ones. They walk away happily, and Jin-sok smiles at them peacefully, finding a moment of solace in the memory. The end. Thank you for watching. Subscribe if you'd like to see more videos like this. Turn on the notifications, and leave a like to help the channel out.